Kidney Warriors, James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach, and this is Dadvice TV Live. Now, my co-host tonight was going to be Dr. Rosansky, and we were going to do an Ask Me Anything of the nephrologist, but something came up and Dr. Rowe isn't able to make it. Now, if he does pop on, I'll bring him right on. But I thought, you know what? Let's at least get some use of this scheduled time while I'm sitting here. So for a little bit, I, a kidney patient, will be here to answer some of your questions to the best of my knowledge. Now, remember, I'm not a dietitian, not a nephrologist, but I've got a lot of experience and a lot of tips and best practices that I like to share. Now, to get us started, and I didn't drink enough before this, I figured, hey, let's talk about my labs because I recently got brand new labs. Now, when I was first diagnosed, my lowest GFR, and I was actually just looking it up, when in the world was it that I got diagnosed with kidney failure? And that was just around November 16th of 2018. So, wow, about 7.5 years ago. And the original, when they first took my labs, my lowest GFR was an 8, but that quickly, once they put fluids in me, and I had IVs, I had bags, they were giving me potassium because my potassium was so low. It got my kidney function up to 13. And that's where the doctor told me, James, that's as good as it's going to get. You got to go on dialysis. We're going to put a port in the side of your neck. And long story short, I did a little bit of research from the ICU and decided, that's not the option. Let me try. My GFR is high enough. Give me a chance to try diet and lifestyle changes. I think I can beat this thing. Now, my kidneys are still bad. It's been over 7 years or almost 7 years. But by getting my blood pressure under control, by eating better, reducing sodium, which is part of getting my blood pressure under control, I was able to slowly improve my labs. And fairly recently, or my highest I got up to was a GFR of 33. That was stage 3. That was awesome. But more importantly, I didn't have a single symptom. All my symptoms gone, and holy cow, I had all of them. I see Alfred saying, does kidney disease make you itch? My kidney function was so low, I had that non-stop itching where you just scratch and scratch and scratch, and all these little bumps all over my skin. And that was from my calcium my phosphorus getting so high when my kidney function was so low. And this is something that happens usually stage 5. It pulls calcium out of your bones and it deposits it just below your skin. And you sometimes get like a white, almost powder, like a dusting on your skin. There's small little bumps. Those are calcium deposits. And you just itch, scratching. I had a cough. I froze. I was just freezing always. My teeth chattering. It was awful in the beginning. But I got my GFR up to 33 and eliminated every single one of my symptoms. Then things weren't going too good. We had COVID hit. The company I worked for went under. Oh, it was a lot of stress for that. Or at least the office I was in went under, lost my job, and had to find a new job. Had to moved from Cincinnati up here to Detroit, where I now work in the automotive industry. During that time, my kidney function would naturally declined, plus the stress. Stress is not good for your kidneys. That helps accelerate the declining. And my GFR would get into the high 20s whenever I'd get my labs. And I didn't have any symptoms, just didn't look that great. Oh, someone's saying very poor audio. It looks good here. Let me know if you guys are having any problems with it. But I've been staying right in that edge right around the GFR of 30. And I'm going to bring you guys up. I'm going to share it on my screen so you guys can see it. Some people don't like to share all this, but that's okay. These are my latest labs here. Uh, Tons of stuff that's in the green. That's great, like white blood cell count. My red blood cell, you can see it's in the normal range, but it is kind of creeping down towards that bottom level, which also hemoglobin, red blood cells, and hemoglobin kind of work together. And one of the things they do is they grab the oxygen from your lungs and take it to all the cells in your body, which helps give you energy. Oh, thank you, Rita, for saying audio is good. Glad to hear that. So I got to work on that. That I can adjust with some diet changes. That's something where renal dietitian can be really helpful on boosting up those red blood cells and those hemoglobins. Hey, Karen, I see you're saying hello to James and Dr. Rosansky. Dr. Rowe didn't make it tonight, but him and his wife are preparing for a big giant trip. And I think he just got the dates confused, or maybe something came out. But as we scroll down here, all these labs looking good, tons of stuff in the green, which is fantastic. And this also having so many things that are in the green that are where they're supposed to be. It shows you that you don't have to eat perfect. You guys know I've been gaining weight. I've been working so much this year. There's been so many life events that have happened. I was just at a funeral down in Southern Ohio this last weekend. We're driving back and forth and dealing with all this, but this is great that so much stuff is here in the green, and I haven't been eating great. Now I'm not eating tons of sodium. That's the number one thing I always look for. I look at how much sodium. If I think, oh, let's go to the store, we're going to eat this, or here's some pretzels I want to get. If the sodium is too high, I avoid it. And that has made a huge impact for me because that impacts my blood pressure. But that shows that, hey, you don't have to be perfect, and your labs can still, even when your kidneys are shot, you might have the potential to get to look good. Now down here, we're going to get to the important stuff. Oh my goodness, there's so many of these labs. I'm trying to find my creatinine to show it to you guys. Okay, here we're getting close. Okay, here's my sugar, 81. Woohoo! Very glad on that. They didn't do an A1C, but my A1C always runs low. I was kind of, tell you guys the truth, kind of hoping it would be a little higher so that maybe I could qualify for one of those SGL2 drugs that has the benefit of weight loss, like Ozempic or something like that. But my glucose is still good enough. I'm pretty sure I won't qualify still for that. My BUN, 36. 36 is not bad. If I was to go strong vegetarian, drop out the meats, I could get that to down there, that 24. I could pretty much probably get it right there, because this right here for me, and mine used to be way up here. I used to be in the 90s. The BUN, the amount of meat you eat really has a strong impact on that. Now there's my creatinine. You can see it's high. It's never going to get normal unless I get a new kidney. It is 2.18. Now with my age, which is much higher than I wish it was. I wish I was a little younger. I feel younger inside. With my age, that gives me a creatinine or an eGFR of 35, which I am thrilled with. 35 is fantastic. Remember, I started way down here. This is below 14. I was way down here in the red with a single digit GFR, got it up to 13, and that's what the doctor said. That's as good as it's going to get. You're never going to get any better. And I proved them wrong by getting my blood pressure under control, making diet and lifestyle changes. I started exercising, walking a lot. I worked with a renal dietitian, and I looked at my health, like my labs, almost like a roadmap. If something was too high, I reduced whatever caused that to be high in my diet as best I could, so that it would hopefully get things back into normal. If I was too low, I would add a little bit, which would get things up. Look at sodium right there, almost smack dab right in the middle, at 140. Potassium 4.6. Now I do have one that's edging a little too high. Calcium's okay. Protein, I could probably use just a tad bit more protein in my diet. I really don't pay attention to that. But my phosphorus is on the high end. Um, and I got to talk to Dr. Rosansky about these um, triglycerides and stuff. I have an appointment with my doctor at the end of the month, but I wanted to get his opinion because he seems to give me really, really good advice. Well, Stacy says, thank you so much for sharing. Hey, happy to share. This shows you guys a lot. You can see what these are like. My triglycerides, a lot of it is being overweight and not exercising enough. But wow, 276 is really high. My HDL, the good cholesterol, or no, the bad cholesterol, or no, this is a good one. It's 37. I got to figure out how to get this fixed. This other one here, VLDL, I don't know what this is. It looks a bit high at the 44. But wherever my phosphorus is, my vitamin D is getting a little bit low. It's still within the normal range. This I can fix. I take the Renal Multivitamin Pro Renal Plus D. This has got some D in it. And I used to take a D3 supplement. My doctors had me take that. My vitamin D got up to about 110. They said, whoop, stop the supplements. You're too high now. And it took probably about 2 years of not taking vitamin D3 supplement, just getting it from the sun and from the food I ate to get it down to that 30.9 where I am right now. So I'll get that a little bit. My uric acid is the low side. I take medication for uric acid. If I don't take that medication, whoo, it skyrockets. Oh, here's my phosphorus. So my phosphorus is on the high side. It's just like, it's right at the edge, right on the border. So I've got to figure out what's causing that. Natural phosphorus, remember, our body doesn't absorb all of it. But when it's those phosphorus add-ins, the things I like to call the sneaky snakes, those our body absorbs at close to 100%. And there's something that I'm consuming on a regular basis that has too many phosphorus additives. So I'm gonna have to start keeping an eye on that and get that back lower. Just kind of scroll. Oh, that's the last one right here, PTH intake. But those are my latest labs. You can see I am thrilled with them. Now, your eGFR, your estimated kidney function, it's going to jump around. Where was mine? Right here, 35. It's going to go up and down. If my next labs, it comes out at 29, then the next one's 34 or something, that's stable. Because remember, it moves up and down. It's never constant. But I'm really happy this is the highest it has been that I've ever seen because I never saw any kidney numbers until I was diagnosed with kidney failure and realized I had a problem. Now, let me change this camera back over here to just me. But I'm very excited. I don't have any symptoms. Oh, Karen says her eGFR went down when she started Ozempic. So I had a pill that my doctor gave me. I can't remember which one it was. And she said, hey, this one's going to make your kidney function go down, but it'll bounce back. When I took that pill, it dropped it to 26, and then it went back up to like 32 right after that. And then it was like 29 after that one. So sometimes medication does cause your kidney function to dip, and it could be a temporary dip, or it could be, it goes down a certain amount and then it kind of stabilizes. But that's not always saying your kidneys are functioning worse. It's just how things are working with your body. It could be that you're creating a little bit more creatinine, which is a waste product from muscle. So you blink, you breathe, you exercise, that creates creatinine. And creatinine, remember, is not bad. It's just the marker used to estimate your kidney function. And Karen, if you're taking Ozempic, one of the things I know to watch out with these new SGLT2 drugs is loss of muscle. And that could increase the creatinine. And there is another test your doctors can do to check and see what your estimated kidney function is. But let me tell you, it's not worth doing because it costs a fortune. It costs so much more. Um, and a lot of people say things like, hey, how do I get rid of creatinine? That's not the thing to focus on because it's just a marker and they'll do another test and just cost you more money and it's not worth it. All right. So hopefully, wow, I just talked for like 15 minutes about my labs. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. And let me see what other questions there might be in here. Let's see. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine. There's a few people saying adjust the audio, but it looks good on this end. I'll pot it up just a tad more, just in case. Let's see. Someone says, oh, what vitamins should you take for stage 3? Oh, this is a fantastic question. So think of your body and your health kind of like a freeway. It's a road, okay, going out in front of you. If you're not getting something, you have a deficiency, that's like a pothole, a little pothole. If that deficiency remains, that pothole gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you're driving, you don't want to be hitting those potholes because you have to slow down. So that's where supplements like vitamins may come into play. It's best to eat your vitamins. If you are a little low on vitamin D, it's best to adjust your diet to add more foods that are rich in vitamin D to hopefully compensate for that deficiency to fill in that pothole. Now, your doctor may say your diet, you can't do this in diet alone, or maybe we need to get this to normal a little quicker. So they may recommend vitamins that you take. And they'll say, take these ones. Like I was taking vitamin D3 to get my vitamin D up. But once you get to where your road is smooth, you've filled in that deficiency, you got to find the right balance of not having too much of it. I took the vitamin D for a long time and I got too much. So now instead of having a pothole, I built a speed bump on my freeway. And of course, you don't want to be driving down the freeway and hitting speed bumps. It's just as bad as a pothole. So you got to balance that, what vitamins you need, and you got to have a reason to take them. And you don't want to take too little or too much or take them too long. And there's always got to be a reason for taking a vitamin. Don't just take it because, hey, Bob takes it, Sarah takes it, James takes it. That is not a reason. Your doctor telling you, hey, you're low on this, or your dietitian saying you're low on this, or you have too much of that, that's a reason to make adjustments. Now, if you do want a renal multivitamin, Pro Renal Plus D, this is the one I take. They are great people. It's got like, look, we got the National Kidney Foundation on here. Every single kidney walk I go to that's near Ohio, they're there. They are the friendliest, nicest people. They're located just outside of Dayton. Fantastic group. Um, and and hopefully they see this video like, that's us. That's us. He's saying great things about us. Fantastic people. They have this both with the omega 6 or 3, one of them. I take the one with it, and they have one without. These pills are a little bit on the larger side. The ones without the omega are teeny tiny. They almost look like a 81 milligram aspirin pill. Super tiny, super easy to swallow. But these, a renal multivitamin, has only the things that kidney patients typically need. There's certain vitamins that we should avoid, especially when our kidney function gets really low, because it builds up in our body. That does not have that in there. So if you are looking to take a multivitamin, this is definitely the one I recommend. It's also what my renal dietitian recommends. Fantastic people. And there are others out there that are renal multivitamins. any of those, but check with your doctor. Say, hey, I'm thinking of adding this. Do you think it'll help me? They may say, you know what, your labs look great. You're eating fantastic. You're just going to pee it all out. You don't need one right now. Okay. And no need for us to be spending money. Things are expensive enough as it is. We got to save our money so we can afford an egg, if we want to have an egg. But ask your doctor or your dietitian. If they say, yeah, take it, that's one that I recommend. One other supplement that I take, it's going to be hard for me to grab it because they're in the fridge behind me, is the probiotic Renadyl. I started taking that shortly after I was diagnosed. My renal dietitian hooked me up with it. It is a really interesting probiotic that, think of it as, remember the old video game Pac-Man? And I hope most of you are thinking, yeah, I remember Pac-Man. Don't tell me you're too young not to remember Pac-Man. But think of like Pac-Mans. They're inside your intestine, all the probiotics. And there's certain things that are bad for your kidneys or hard for your kidneys to remove. These Pac-Mans are coming in, eating part of it. And then when you go poo, they're taking the roller coaster ride through your intestines and woo, out into the toilet, and you're flushing some of that stuff away so that not as much is getting absorbed into your blood. And then your kidneys aren't being burdened with having to remove so much stuff. And they do a lot of testing. As a matter of fact, this upcoming Friday, I will have a doctor who's familiar with Renadyl. He will be on here talking about some really cool new stuff. I had last month and the month before Dr. Rick, who is very, very familiar with Renadyl, and he did some studies on bears who hibernate. And when they hibernate, their kidneys really slow down, but their eGFR doesn't skyrocket, and it turned out to being what was in their gut and these probiotics that were in there. And some of those are what are in Renadyl and help it almost function like a little bit of dialysis in a pill. But it's not a replacement for dialysis. But Renadyl is fantastic. They did set us up a discount code. I can't remember what it is. But you know what? When I was sharing my browser, I think it was printed on the screen. Hold on, let me bring that on. Yes, that's it. Dadvice 2410. Renadyl.com. You can get Renadyl. That was from where I was showing some stuff when I was talking to Dr. Rick. The people at Renadyl, which is a company called Kibo Biotech, set up this discount for us in our community so that we can purchase Renadyl and get a discount. And what is today? Today is the 10th. I do know that there is a sale coming up on the 13th. That is just a couple days away. Probably not supposed to mention anything, but I do know it's coming. And that can save even more money on purchasing that if you guys are interested in that probiotic. Now, it has to be refrigerated because these are living probiotics, and all probiotics are different. That is one thing that was really confusing to me in the beginning. I thought, well, you know what? I see probiotics at the Dollar General and at Kroger and at Meijer. Why am I getting these ones that have to be refrigerated? Probiotics is such a general term. The strains that are in there, the types, the mixtures, that determines what they're consuming for food in your gut. And you need the right strains, and that's what is in Renadyl. So those are two supplements. Those, and then CoQ10. That's the only other supplement I take currently. The rest is all, for the most part, blood pressure medications, cholesterol medication, the gout medication. I think that's what it is. It's a bunch. There's a bunch of pills. My blood pressure, it's like some special formula it took to get it just right and keep it looking good. Now, if everyone out there, what is a good blood pressure number? Let's get some interaction going on here. What should your top number be? Okay, there's a certain target we want to hit, that or lower is good. What is that top number? Let's see if we can get anybody who knows what that should be. And while you guys are typing, 'cause there's a little bit of a delay between what I say appearing on YouTube, and sometimes YouTube throws some ads in, and you could be 10, 15 seconds off from where I am talking. We'll give you guys a little bit of time to answer. I'm trying to just ramble on here to give you guys a chance. And let me see. Somebody else has a question. My spouse went from 104 to 15 with an AKI. Yes, an AKI is a temporary kidney injury. Someone did not get the memo not to use contrast. Put on dialysis and told it was temp. Okay, so yeah, that can happen where you have temporary dialysis. The important thing here is as long as and I get lots of numbers in here. We'll get to these just a second. As long as I think she said, my spouse, okay. As long as he's producing urine, the dialysis can be temporary because then it's very easy to come off of it. Talk to his doctor about when to get off. But sometimes temporary dialysis is necessary. All right, we got a lot of great numbers. Like Karen said 120. We got here 120 over 80. We got us another 120. Okay, 120 or better is the number. All right, Maria, you have 135. It used to be 140 or better. And then the research showed, that's not the right number. That's too high. We need 120 for the top and the bottom, 80 or better. And we don't want it to get too low. You don't want it to run at 80 over something like that. Because your blood pressure is what powers your kidneys. And it needs to be in a range. If it's too low, your kidneys can't function right. If it's too high, they can't function and they get heavily damaged. This is permanent damage. There is no fixing it. But that is great. Keep your blood pressure, that top number 120 or lower, which is better. And that bottom number is currently 80 or better. Mine runs about 112 almost all the time. Of course, I relax. I give myself 5 minutes, which feels like 20 minutes when you're waiting 5 minutes. And then my bottom number usually is just shy of 80, like 76, 78. But it's very consistent. Got my home blood pressure. I have a battery operated one for when I travel. I charge it up. It's got a built-in battery and I use it. And then I have one next to my bed that I take. And Dr. Rosansky would always say, if it comes time to take your blood pressure and you feel a little dizzy, take your blood pressure. If it's really low, skip a dose and let your doctor know, because they may be taking a little too far with the medication they're doing. I see Tyrone says I try to keep my 128 to 120 over 70 to 80. Sometimes it rises slightly to over 130. So Tyrone, so that's not bad, but let me tell you, dude, get that to 120 or lower, that top number, because that's going to give your kidneys the longest and easiest time, the longest to survive, okay? And when we got kidney problems, we want to milk every little bit of filtering out of our kidneys we can, so we can delay ever needing dialysis. I hope to never, ever need it. That's what my goal is. All right, we got Wilda saying, how do we contact Dr. Rosansky? So the best way to contact Dr. Rosansky, now, him and his wife, he's got an amazing wife. They love to travel. They travel the world, which I'm looking forward to doing when I retire. They're getting ready to take a trip. They're leaving this week and they won't be back until next month sometime. But the easiest way to get a hold of him is probably through Facebook. He's got a Facebook channel or a Facebook page. You can search for Stephen Rosansky and you'll recognize him from the picture. Now his picture, he's kind of like a realtor. That picture was taken a little while ago. He's a little bit younger in the picture, I'm gonna guess 30 years younger. So. But you'll recognize him. You'll be like, oh, there's Dr. Rowe when he was younger. Um, and then you can reach out to him and see if he can respond to you. All right. Let me go back to these questions, see what else we have. Please repeat the name of the probiotic. It is Renadyl. And actually, if I bring my browser back up and bring this right there at the top, Renadyl, RENADYL.com is the website. And there's the discount code for it. Now, I'm a little slower getting to all these things here. Usually when I have a guest on, and you guys see my eyes darting around, I'm doing all this stuff while they're talking. It is really challenging to talk and think and do all this stuff simultaneously with all this. And I'm leaving all my buttons below me all alone. I have lots of cool things that I could be doing, like special effects. So I was like, no, I'll save those for when there's a guest and it's easier. All right. Someone said, good blood pressure should be 120/80. Very good. Perfect. Love that. You guys are fantastic. Is there any way, Freya, is there any way we can differentiate between organic and the non-organic phosphorus? How do you know which? Okay, so if there's a food, like say, broccoli or something like that, if it's the food, whatever it is, you see it and it looks like that, that is the organic, the natural phosphorus. That's the one that our body only absorbs a small percentage of. And it is a very small percentage, but it does vary. Some things it's around 30%. I think it's around what the average is, about 30% of the phosphorus that's in it. Now, if it's something that has a label, you can look on the back and you see that label like we do when we go to the grocery store. There is no line item unless the rare occasion the manufacturer decide to add phosphorus, but this is so rare. You have to look in the ingredients and you're looking for PHOS, phos. There is a long list of phosphorus additives. Phosphorus is a shelf stabilizer. It helps things last a long time. So if it's in a box and it's on the shelf and it's not going to go moldy in a few days, it probably has some phosphorus, something added to it. But look at the ingredients, look for that PHOS. Now, the rule I follow, and this was given to me by a really good dietitian, and this is just a simple rule, okay? You flip it over. If anything that ends in PHOS is mentioned in the first half of the ingredients, it's consider it high, is what I was told. I could accept once in the first half, but they said it's better just ignore it if it's in the first half. Now, in the second half, if PHOS appears 2 or more times, and I've seen 4, that's one of my special effects. Ignore the balloons. It's my hands. The camera notices what I do. But if it appears 2 or more times, the second half of the ingredients, that's a lot of added phosphorus. That's the kind that we absorb almost 100%. And that's most likely what the cause is of my labs, why my phosphorus was so high. All righty. Let's see. Going back down here, trying to look at some of the questions we got here. Okay, someone says it's not shipped refrigerated. That is correct. It comes, so they refrigerate it and then they put it in a special bag to help keep it cool. It will last for about 5 days, non-refrigerated, and they ship it to you. You get it, and then you just pop it in your refrigerator. And during the summer months when the temperatures are super high, they will do more for the shipping of it. And it's okay for it to, if you forget it out on the counter, it's not like mayonnaise where it's going to suddenly spoil and you're like, don't eat that, throw that away. you can put it back in the fridge, but you just, if it's been out for, a week or two, some of that bacteria is going, or the good bacteria that's in there could die. So we want to keep it in the refrigerator. And the bottles are pretty small. Each bottle holds 60 pills, which you take 1 to 2 a day. I take 2. I'm like, look, if I can take 2 of these and it's going to help me, I'm taking 2 of them. You could stretch it out, the 1 a day, but come on, we want our kidneys to be good, doing good. We want to feel great. We want no symptoms. I do the 2 a day. Now, if you are thinking of Renadyl, it's Jerry asked about, and some of the other ones, yeah, some other people on here. When you first start taking it, you could get a little gaseous. Okay. So start taking it on like a Friday afternoon. Take your 2 pills. So you got the weekend for your body to get used to it, just in case you're not at work tooting a little bit. It wasn't bad. I mean, there's been some bad meals where you're like, oh my goodness, I don't want you could clear a room. It's not going to be like that. But for some people, that is the adjustment, is you might get a little gaseous. I had it barely, just a little bit, but I take 2 of them. I've taken more than 2 in a day, but you're just kind of going through it really, really quickly. Wilda says, thank you. You're welcome. I hope I answered your question. Let's see. Oh, someone says I missed their question. Let me see if I can find it in here. Let's see. Their creatinine is 820. I don't know how your creatinine is 820. That would be outrageously high. Mine is 2.18, which when you do the formula comes out to a 35. So you would need, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really say, hey, here's what this means for you. You're going to have to chat with your doctor, your healthcare team, whoever did your labs. They'll have the answer for you. And hopefully you find that helpful. I see you kind of are upset at me, said you're going to unsubscribe. Can't make everyone happy. I donate my time and do the best I can. But hopefully you at least heard, reach out to your doctor. They'll be able to tell you about that. Okay, M. Foster, you had a question, but let me see. I see part of your question. Let me find that. Oh, you're the one, yeah, your spouse who's on the temporary dialysis. I had mentioned earlier, oh wow, you say it's been a year that he's been on temporary dialysis. Whew, that doesn't feel very temporary to me. But this is an area that I'm not as familiar with because I've been very lucky to not get on dialysis yet. Um, Hopefully your husband's still producing urine. If he is, have him, or your spouse. I don't mean to, I know I said husband, you said spouse. Um, have your spouse talk to your doctor and see, hey, you said this would be temporary. Can he get off of this? He has to still be producing urine. If you're on dialysis for a long time, you eventually will stop producing urine. Your kidneys pretty much aren't needed. And okay, you say he is producing. Very good. Isn't this awesome? We get to talk in real time. So that is an awesome sign. That is fantastic. Talk to his doctor and see. Now, his doctor may try reducing how frequent his dialysis is, because it's kind of you graduate off of dialysis, and then they'll do labs, see how things are going. Diet will be important to help eat properly for whatever kidney function he does have. And you said it was an AKI. So yeah, talk to his doctor. A year, to me, a year seems like a long time, but I'm very patient. Okay. I can go and stand in line forever. I can go to Target, they don't have enough employees. It's difficult to get help. The lines are really long. I'm super patient. I'm friendly. I'm chatting with people. I start talking to people and have a good time. But when it comes to my health, I'm not patient. Um, and oh, I see you say his eGFR is now 23. Talk to his doctor. Yes, I know that's exactly what, well, he's on dialysis, so it's really hard to get an accurate eGFR because some of that is the dialysis doing it. But I, not an expert, not a doctor, see no reason his doctor can't try getting him off of dialysis, um, and seeing what happens. When he's off dialysis, his kidneys may do even better. Yes, you said communication is so important. It is. But as I was saying, when it comes to health, that's where I'm not patient because it's my life. The doctor works for you. You're paying that bill. If you're not happy, I let them know. If I have questions, I let them know. Those doctors that schedule, the nephrologist that'll schedule 15 minutes with you, that ain't working for me. I'm going to have questions. We're going to need some time because this is my life, my health. So be firm with your doctor, though polite, because we're all working together. Um, and maybe a second opinion from a different doctor may help. Now I know that's hard. Our insurance doesn't. Oh yeah, look at this. Stacy says a second opinion. The same thing I was just thinking. Um, you know, it could be hard to get insurance to cover that. Um, Insurance just, it drives me nuts. That's my biggest concern about retiring is affording healthcare here in the US. All right, let's see. Well, someone says thank you for your support. Boom! Glad to see. Oh, and guess what, guys? So this year I'm going to be at a ton of kidney walks. And I'm going to be hitting a lot of them up in Canada and in the US. And I'm getting my vehicle wrapped. I had to replace my vehicle. Got something with more room and a lot cheaper. And it is in the process of getting the wrap designed. And soon it will be wrapped. I'll show some pictures once I get it wrapped. Um, and I will be at the kidney walks out there trying to raise awareness, raise funds. And this year I'm going to do a huge push towards organ donors to try to help, spread the word about the organs out there. And we're kind of getting a little late. It's almost been, wow, it's 7:47 right now. One last story, and it's kind of a sad one, but it's just it's got a big sad part, but a positive in a way ending. And I'm gonna try not to get emotional. This is gonna be very difficult. I can already tell I'm getting emotional. Um, but it's important to encourage people to be an organ donor. And that's going to be a big focus this year. And I had, if I can talk about this, it is difficult. A very young cousin of mine, 42, her birthday would have been last week. Um, and she got the flu. And while she had the flu, happened to have a heart attack and didn't realize it. Her mom knew something wasn't right and had her go to the hospital. They took her to the ER. She was put in the ICU, and things didn't go well. And um, on today is Monday, 2 weeks ago today, on Monday, they did the test and declared her brain dead. And luckily, trying not to get emotional, luckily, she was an organ donor. And it was actually pretty cool because the plan was, since she's alive, she's on a machine keeping her body alive, even though she is brain dead, to harvest all of her organs. And they're like, holy cow, there were 8 people that she would immediately change their lives. We're talking 2 kidneys, 2 different people on dialysis waiting for that call. Got a call. And then there were over a dozen other people that were going to get other things from her that would improve their lives. But sadly, that night, her heart stopped and they had to immediately harvest the organs. But, at least they were able to harvest them. I was planning to make the drive down there. It's only a 5-hour drive. I was going to come the next day and be there when the people came in to get the organs, kind of get to meet them, tell them about her, and do the honor walk. But those parts didn't get to happen because they had to harvest them sooner than they expected. But the good news is, in the sadness of her life ending, she was able to save other people's lives, give them more hope and more life. So she kind of still lives on in them. Thank you, Rita, there for your kind words. And I've always been, encouraging people to become organ donors, but this year I'm going to really, really push that. And my plan is, once the vehicle's wrapped, traveling a lot more, going to more events, promoting the importance of it, talking to different media, trying to get the local newses to cover it, and talk about it. Because it is amazing how one person making the choice to become an organ donor can not just save lives, but change so many people's lives. I mean, oh, it turns something which is sad into something positive, and that's just absolutely amazing. All right, so it's been almost an hour of me rambling on here. Hopefully you guys found this useful. I will reschedule with Dr. Rosansky, so he's here. Thank you everyone for all your kind words here. Yeah, that was we did a celebration of life on Saturday down in Ohio, just outside of Dayton. So that's where me and my daughter, we drove down there, and it's always good to get to see relatives. It's sad as we get older, we see more of them at things like this instead of at the family reunions, like we normally do. All right, everybody. So the next scheduled episode this Friday, I've got a brand new doctor. He'll be on. I can't remember if it's 6 or 7 p.m. 3, it might be 6 p.m. It's already scheduled on YouTube, so it'll be on the Facebook page. If you go to the Dadvice TV Facebook page, you can see when it's scheduled. If you go to dadvicetv.com, you can see there's actually a whole page about Pro Renal Plus D, the multivitamin that I take, that I recommend. But always check with your doctor first. Don't be wasting money on something that isn't going to help you. Okay, we're all in this together. Let's do only things that help us, and let's save the money for things that we want to enjoy, like some scrambled eggs or something like that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you taking the time, sit here and listen to me ramble on about stuff. Hopefully you found looking at my labs and seeing, boom, still going up after almost 7 years. Woo! I'm super excited about that. Hopefully you found that helpful. All right. Thank you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.